How to stop comparing your life to others from a Buddhist perspective. Take a slow breath and allow this moment to be exactly as it is. Comparison is one of the most common sources of suffering, and yet it is so deeply human. We look at others, their success, their happiness, their relationships, their peace, and silently we measure our own life against theirs. In Buddhism, this habit of comparison is not seen as a personal failure. It is seen as a natural movement of the ego. The ego survives by separation, by ranking, by better and worse, by more and less. But suffering begins the moment we believe these comparisons are true. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment. Attachment to outcome, attachment to identity, attachment to how life should look. When we compare ourselves to others, we are attached to an image of success, an image of happiness, an image of who we think we must become. But the Buddha never asked us to become someone else. He asked us to see clearly. When you compare your life to others, ask yourself gently, what story am I telling right now? Because comparison is never about reality. It is always about a story. You do not see the full life of another person. You see a moment, a fragment, a surface, and then the mind fills in the rest. In Buddhist thought, this is called ignorance, not stupidity, but not seeing things as they truly are. We suffer not because our life is lacking, but because we misunderstand it. Another key teaching is impermanence. Everything changes. Success changes, failure changes, joy changes, pain changes. The person you compare yourself to today will not be the same person tomorrow, and neither will you. So when you compare, you are comparing two moving rivers as if they were fixed statues. This is the root of frustration. The Buddha encouraged mindful awareness, to notice thoughts without believing them. When comparison arises, do not fight it, simply notice. Comparison is here, just like a cloud passing through the sky. You are not the cloud, you are the sky. The sky does not compete with other skies. It does not envy another horizon. It does not rush to become something else. It allows everything to pass. In Buddhism, there is also the teaching of right view. Right view reminds us that each being walks a different path shaped by causes and conditions. Different karma, different wounds, different lessons. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your path unfolds. A lotus does not compare itself to another lotus. One blooms in the morning, another in the afternoon. Both are complete. Comparison disappears when compassion appears. Compassion for other and compassion for yourself. When you see another person's success, instead of envy, try saying silently, "May you be well." And then say to yourself, "May I also be at peace." Not later, not when you arrive somewhere else. Now. The Buddha taught contentment, not as resignation, but as deep understanding. Contentment means knowing that your worth is not measured by comparison. It is measured by awareness. When you stop comparing, life becomes lighter. You walk your own pace. You breathe your own breath. You stop chasing borrowed dreams. The end of comparison is not superiority, it is freedom. Freedom from the endless measuring. Freedom from the silent self-judgment. Freedom to simply be alive. So the next time comparison appears, bow to it gently. It is only the mind trying to protect itself. Thank it, and return to the present moment. Your life, as it is already enough. Many people believe that comparison motivates growth, but Buddhism sees this differently. growth born from comparison is rooted in fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of being left behind, fear of being unseen. And anything grown from fear will never bring peace. The Buddha taught that true growth comes from wisdom. Wisdom does not rush. Wisdom does not compete. Wisdom observes patiently. It asks, "What is happening within me right now?" When you compare yourself to others, notice where it lives in the body. Is it tightness in the chest? A sinking feeling in the stomach? A quiet heaviness behind the eyes? This is not a mistake. This is the body responding to grasping. In Buddhist meditation, we learn to stay with sensation without trying to escape it. Do the same with comparison. Stay, feel, breathe. You may notice that beneath comparison there is often sadness. Sadness for dreams not yet lived. Sadness for recognition not yet received. Allow that sadness. The Buddha never taught us to bypass pain. He taught us to understand it. Another teaching is non-self. This does not mean you do not exist. It means you are not a fixed identity. You are a process, a flow, a becoming. Comparison assumes a solid self that can be measured. But there is no solid self to compare. Who are you comparing? The version of yourself from yesterday? From childhood? From someone else's expectations? These are mental constructions. They arise and they pass. When you see someone who seems ahead of you, remember this. You are seeing the fruit, not the roots. You do not see their suffering, their doubts, their nights of confusion. You do not see the cost, and you do not know if you would choose it even if you could. Buddhism reminds us that craving wears many disguises. Sometimes it looks like ambition, sometimes like comparison. But its message is always the same. Be somewhere else. The practice is to gently reply, I am here. Here is where life is happening. Here is where breath moves. Here is where freedom begins. The Buddha spoke often about the middle way, not indulgence, not denial, balance. Comparison pulls us to extremes, either inferiority or superiority. Both are traps. Superiority isolates. Inferiority diminishes. Neither leads to awakening. Awakening begins when we step out of the measuring mind, when we stop asking, and how do I rank, and begin asking, am I present? Presence dissolves comparison. You cannot fully inhabit this moment and compare at the same time. One excludes the other. In Zen Buddhism, there is a saying, when walking, just walk. When sitting, just sit. There is no instruction to compare. Your path is not behind. It is not ahead. It is under your feet. Every step you take with awareness is already the destination. When comparison quiets, gratitude becomes possible. Not forced gratitude, not toxic positivity, but a soft appreciation for what is simple and real. Breath, warmth, stillness. The Buddha described joy that does not depend on conditions. It arises naturally when grasping relaxes. Comparison is grasping. Release it and joy does not need to be chased. You may still notice comparison returning. This is normal. The mind has practiced it for years. Do not judge this. Practice kindness instead. Each time you notice comparison and return to awareness, you are weakening an old habit. Each return is a moment of freedom. There is nothing wrong with you for comparing, but there is deep peace waiting beyond it. The Buddha never promised a perfect life. He offered a clear mind, and a clear mind does not suffer from borrowed lives. So walk gently, at your own pace. No one else can walk this path for you, and no comparison can tell you where you belong. You already belong to this moment, and that is enough.